Hello, welcome to this session of MindBody TV. I'm Dr. Kim Duremo, and I'm gearing this particular session around resolving chronic fatigue, whether it's chronic fatigue syndrome or you're in chronic fatigue relative to another disease process or illness, or you don't even know what it is, but you're in this chronically fatigued and depleted state. But this also applies to any illness or like negative state, negative situation and circumstance you're dealing with that's just not resolving no matter what you do. The premise of this is you're made of energy. Your entire system is energetic. And as energy, there's a frequency, there's a vibration, there's a quality. When you're in a higher vibrational frequency, and I'm going to talk about the specific states, emotional states, mental, conscious states that correlate to that, your physiology works in a different way. It actually opens the circuitry for healing. And so that's why, as a physician, I've dedicated my career to sharing this path as opposed to the like whack-a-mole, let's fix your fatigue, let's fix this, let's fix your sleep, let's fix your gut, let's fix your thyroid, let's fix your adrenals. Because what I've seen is that when we address it this way, everything naturally heals. Everything comes into a new balance. Everything comes into a higher state. We are working with the body's ability to heal itself. Okay, so if you've never heard of Dr. David Hawkins' scale of consciousness, this is what we're working with here. This is like a major foundation for all of my work. And he has quantified this numerically, logarithmically, to look at what these emotional, mental consciousness states correlate at vibrationally. And even if you are familiar with this, this is just going to be a really fun way of understanding how we apply this and how we can really utilize this model to greatly accelerate healing, to open the doors for massive, miraculous, and unthinkable healing. This is something I see in my practice every day. And so share in the comments with me, where are you tuning in from? How did you find this? And are you dealing with something you would like to heal? Are you dealing with chronic fatigue? Is there something you've been diagnosed with? And sometimes there's like a story behind it. For me personally, way back during medical school, I was diagnosed with a severe chronic illness. I was told, your body's breaking down. Here's all the things you need to do. You're never going to run again. You may not finish medical school. And all of a sudden I realized, wait a minute, right as I was about to dissolve into a puddle, I realized, wait a minute, is this actually true for me? Not the symptoms and the inflammation and what the labs showed, but this perspective about what's happening. Is this true for me? And it immediately created a shift that allowed massive healing to take place within only days. And you can access the same thing within yourself because you are creative. Your system is creative. It can create the cellular and physiologic and even DNA genetic shifts that allow massive healing. So let's work with this. Okay, way down at the bottom at level 20, which is 10 to the 20th power. It's all logarithmic. But way down here is this lowest frequency that can be embodied in the human body. Seriously, if you embody this frequency long enough, you will self-destruct. If you were any lower, you could not survive. A lot of suicidality will come up. Your thoughts will match the vibrational frequency of that energy. Now, we can think of this as an emotion, energy in motion. It's how we feel, the quality of what we feel when we're at that level. So you might feel hatred, guilt, grief when you're in this lower frequency. And then the thoughts that match it. You'll never make it. You shouldn't be here. You might as well quit now. It will never work. No matter what you'll do, you'll never get anywhere. See, I told you, no matter what you've done, this never got you anywhere. Fascinatingly, this lights up areas in the brain that store and kind of like have the receptivity for memories, things that have happened where you've totally failed or you've done this horrible thing, things that validate the energy, frequency, and consciousness you're in. Like it changes the way your brain works. So you're only seeing the negative, you're only seeing the impossibility. So it's your job when you're in these lower frequency states to just remember what we're doing here. Remember this in some little 2% way. And all you're going to do is just soften your shoulders. Take a big, smooth, deep breath in and just let your body, even just 2% more, receive the fullness of that breath. When you give yourself grace at any level, it will naturally increase your frequency. The worst thing you can do when you're in a lower state is try to get to a higher state. Yikes! It's like you can't get to these higher states. You can only be more fully, more willingly in the one you're at. But that, interestingly, is the doorway to an increase in consciousness. Okay, we're going to zoom right up and I'll give you this overview, right? We move up to fear. We move up. Higher frequency than fear is anger, right? Because fear is like, oh no, I'll never make it. And anger is like, screw that. Let's, we got to do what we got to do. And there's more power in it. Doesn't mean it's still not an energy state that sucks away your energy. These lower states below this line consume more energy than you generate. This is the number one reason as a doctor why I see people get sick and not get better, not resolve no matter what they do. Your system is consuming more energy than it's creating. Can't live like that. All right, you move up to courage. This is a major inflection point, right? So this is at 10 to the 200th power. Courage is when we're finally ready to let go of everything we know, grudges we've held, resonating with those fear thoughts, hate thoughts, judgment thoughts, and just consider what else might be possible. Just that question alone can open you to this higher frequency state. And what we've seen in the research and data Dr. David Hawkins has done is that once we open beyond this state, we get to courage, we now begin to create more energy than we consume. Our vibration is high enough that we can actually be of contribution in our lives. We'll start letting resources come in. We'll start seeing maybe more money comes in. Well, maybe it's courage, like, I hate my job. This sucks. Oh yeah, but you got to work. You got to do something. Someone's got to pay the bills. And there's anger, there's resentment, maybe there's fear to do something you don't know you can do. You take that one step in courage. What if there's another possibility here? What if I maybe check out what else might be possible? Doesn't mean you quit your job, just screw this. It means you open. Now, whoa, there's an opportunity. You find the courage to move toward that opportunity, right? Fear is going to say, that won't work. I know a guy once. But courage says, what if? What would it take? Would I be willing? Right? So you move up in frequency, opportunities open up, doors open where there were once walls, and you find the strength, courage to step through them. You accelerate, you have a higher frequency, you gain more energy. Really, really important inflection point. Then we go up to willingness, which is a higher frequency, right? No matter what's going on and how it seems impossible, I'm willing to stay open. This is a point I work with a lot when I'm helping people heal. And in my mind-body solution for chronic fatigue, which is actually on offer right now, we've opened the doors. You're welcome to join. We work with this. How do we come into a higher frequency and play our way? Like I said, you can't get to joy from way down here, fear and shame. But you can go to anger, you can go to courage, and you can go to willingness. You can make, and then once you kind of create the circuitry, because this program is all about creating new circuitry, you can make these jumps. You can make these jumps once you create the circuitry. And guess what? Your body's neuroplastic. Your brain can change and lay down new train tracks, new pathways to allow you to come to these accelerated states of consciousness. Then it's easy, right? And you find yourself in these lower states, you're like, wait a minute, what if? And immediately you're able to access that. So willingness is even though it's scary and everything in me says it's just going to be a mess, I'll never make it, I'm willing to play along. I'm willing to stay open and move forward. I'm willing to receive what my system truly yearns for. Okay, so we come up to reason 400, and I put these ones, there's other states in here, but I put these ones specifically because reason is rationality. I'm going to be loving to myself because it just makes sense. I'm going to, we do EFT tapping in the Mind Body Solution for chronic fatigue to help resolve the unconscious blocks, keeping you stuck in these lower frequencies. Well, reason is like, I know the science and this just makes sense, okay? However, what's a higher frequency and where healing finally begins, disease cannot begin in these higher frequencies in a body at love or above. From reason to love transcends rationality. That's why some people will say, yeah, that makes sense. I guess I'll try it. But the true healing happens when we're willing to just open and receive unconditionally, even when I don't understand, even when it doesn't make sense, even when my mind says, yeah, but I'm willing to stay open. I'm willing to stay open unconditionally when I don't even know how it's going to go, or it doesn't even make sense to me. There's just something in me that knows. And just like courage, this is another inflection point when we're willing to transcend reason, show me the data, right? And we actually allow love. I know that I know that I know, and I'm willing to keep my heart open because it feels like the right thing to do. We move into a massive quantum leap where healing begins. This is the reason why, as a doctor, I'm working with your energy and frequency first, second, and third. And then maybe there's some tweaks to like optimize your vitamin D or do something that assists your gut microbiome. Because guess what? No matter what you do to try to balance out your gut microbiome, when you are suppressing these energies, it cannot happen. That's why so many people spend years and years and years to like fight Candida or clear that Epstein-Barr virus or all these multiple co-infections. Guess what happens when you come in to love or above? They cannot live in your system. And yeah, maybe there's like a supplement you're like inspired to do and that assists the process of clearing and accelerates it, right? But this is the foundation. You have to come into a higher frequency first. Otherwise, you're just moving around the parts. I got to do this. Now I got to do that. Oh, now we have to. Oh, now it got better in this way, but then that thing happened. Do you ever find like it's whack-a-mole? That's because you're in a lower frequency. So love is at the point of 10 to the 500th or 500 on the Hawkins scale. And we go up from there. Joy, 540, peace, 600. And I didn't put it up on the scale, but at 1000 is that avatar level of Christ consciousness, complete and utter oneness with all that is. I know my being as the oneness of all I see and all I experience. Now, of course, that includes I accept all I see. Acceptance is like right around in here. So there's a lot of ways to play with this. Wherever you find yourself on the scale in this moment, in any moment, can I accept how it's been so far? This is a major thing we do in the Mind Body Solution for chronic fatigue. A lot of people would say at first, like, you're saying it's my fault. They really think that because they have the power to allow healing, that means it's their fault. It is definitely not your fault at all. In fact, that's one of the heavy things from the fear brain, the shame brain down here, not the truth. When you allow yourself to embrace what is, no matter what, you automatically move up into these higher states. And let's play with this. There's exercises I guide you through for exactly how to do this. Let's make it easy. Let's make it fun. And let's actually do the thing that's going to get to the core that accelerates your true healing, because disease cannot live in a body above the frequency of 600. So let's just imagine you practice living at love or above 2% of the time, and maybe you even come into true peace intermittently a couple times a week. You are massively accelerating your healing, and you are no longer a good host for all of those diseases, disorders, inflammatory, Epstein-Barr virus, Lyme, mold, toxic mold, yeast, fill in the blank, autoimmune disorder, adrenal fatigue, thyroid. Oh, my thyroid's conked out. Wait a minute. What would it take to allow my thyroid to be fully repleted? So staying open, finding the courage, first of all, to do something that maybe this is a little weird. Hey, I'm in. I'm going to find the courage. Finding the willingness to play along. Finding the love. Now, that can be really challenging when what we're experiencing we do not love, or what's been in our past. Oh, I don't want to love that. Can I just 2% accept I am where I am? It has been as it has been. And I will allow the love to come in to this moment. That is where healing begins. It cannot not. You are pure energy. You are frequency and consciousness. You can play with this to allow the deepest healing, to allow yourself to be open to true life force, not just the fix-it Band-Aid moving around the parts. Source. You can call it whatever you like. It's time to open. I love you guys. I hope this has been as awesome for you to receive as it has been for me to share. This has radically changed my life. I am disease-free. Within days, like I shared, this massive autoimmune disorder that could have taken me out of the game resolved. And I went from hopelessness, fear, what's wrong with me, to what's right about this I'm not getting, to I embrace what is unconditionally, to I receive all the love in the world just for existing. And you can too. I love you guys. The doors are open for the Mind Body Solution for Chronic Fatigue. The link is here. You're invited. Please let us know what questions you may have. I have seen immense, truly miraculous healing from this work in the exact program. So these are the tools. These are the exercises. They're easy. And I've seen people resolve after years and years and years of battling diseases, infections, co-infections, severe autoimmune, no man's land of just like, you have chronic fatigue, I don't know why, repleting the thyroid and actually getting off thyroid medications. And a lot of that happens because we're repleting the adrenals. They are connected. This works with your body's interconnection and your body's ability to heal itself. I love you guys. So excited to have you here, and I look forward to seeing you soon. We will broadcast a new episode live every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time at Dr. Kim Duramo in YouTube and in the Mind Body community in Circle. We are all moving into a higher consciousness. Don't be afraid of what arises as you go up. I love you, and I'll see you soon.